Let's do this. Everybody good? Good morning, everybody. How are you? We are really excited today. My name is Aubrey Merriman. I'm the CEO of Life Moves, and I wanted to welcome you to our Life Moves Mountain View community. What you're standing in is a microclimate of love and care and growth. And I also wanted to share with you that this is our Homekey 1.0 model. This is a 1.0 model. We're looking to do at least 10 more of these Homekey projects. We're looking for the government support. We're looking for corporate partners, civic partners, public-private partnerships to continue to make more of these happen across the Silicon Valley for the incredible needs for people experiencing homelessness. I want to thank Governor Newsom for being here, Project Homekey, our public-private partners, our partners at the City of Mountain View, our county partners, and our corporate partners for really leaning into making today possible. There's been a lot of passion and love, as Joe Stockwell, our board chair, reminds me, a lot of love and passion that was put behind the construction of this community. And it's more than just a bunch of doors and locks. What it is really a home for people that are looking to find stability, for people that are looking to achieve long-term stability, which is what they deserve. And what you'll see here today is an example of what it's like to be innovative, to be able to redefine what people think about interim housing. It's a successful use case study for how to really be flexible, how to put together rapid build, state-of-the-art, prefabricated, modular construction to help with interim housing inventory. Like I said, this is the 1.0 version. We want to do many more of these. This adds capacity. You can stack to it. You have 100 units here. You can serve 124 clients and then some. So when we look to roll this out in the future, we want to do many more of these, and we're looking for partners to continue to build on the innovation that you see here today. We are so pleased by the opportunity to share our community with everybody here. So the call to action is really get involved, find a way to connect with Life Moves, help us to continue to redefine what people think about interim housing, help us to expand the definition of housing and what that housing continuum looks like. We think that we've stepped on something here that's pretty magical, and we want to spread that magic with all communities across Silicon Valley that need us to be in the game with them. And we also put a call out to our homeless service providers to help join us in this. And we want to open source our success to make sure that others can build off and learn from what you see here today so that we can all collectively advance the needle about really eradicating homelessness in our region once and for all. So I thank you for being here. I hope that you take the opportunity to really tour this incredible facility and understand that this is a community, and it takes a community to build a community. And we've had some really incredible partners that have made today possible. One of those partners I have the pleasure of introducing. It's the Mayor of Mountain View. Mayor Kamei and her staff and her team have just been incredible in helping us to move this forward. And so it gives me great pleasure and honor to invite the mayor up to the stage. Mayor Kamei.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mountain View. My name is Ellen Kamei, and I'm honored to be with all of you today to talk about Project Homekey. I'd like to thank you, Governor Newsom, for all that you've done to make it easier for all of us to help our most vulnerable residents. Due to the state's Homekey program, we're standing here at this interim housing community that came to life in less than 6 months. Yes, less than 6 months. And now Life Moves Mountain View is providing individuals, couples, and families a safe, supportive, and dignified program that will help them attain housing stability. Especially during the pandemic, we need to be flexible, we need to be creative, and we need to be collaborative. And through Homekey, we could be with our nonprofit partner, Life Moves. Thank you to all our partners for believing in us and in Life Moves. They include the California Department of Housing and Community Development, the County of Santa Clara, private philanthropies, and private sector donors. To my fellow council members, City Manager Kimbra McCarthy, who I know is here with us, and city staff, thank you. Thank you for lifting this program off the ground and showing that the city is bold, innovative, and not afraid to do what hasn't been done before. Here in Mountain View, we continue to address homelessness in a caring, supportive, and responsive manner. We have one of the largest safe parking programs in the entire Bay Area, and we're also exploring the conversion of our Crestview Hotel to meet various housing needs. And you can see here today how the state of California is making a difference on the local level by helping us serve all the members of our community. Thank you again, Governor. Really appreciate it. And I have the honor of introducing Assemblymember Mark Berman.
Thank you, Mayor Kamei. My name is Mark Berman. I'm the Assembly Member for the 24th Assembly District, which covers Mountain View and the surrounding cities. And we, Senator Becker and I, get to do a lot of these tours. I know the governor does even more. This is one of the coolest events we get to do as elected officials, because where we are right now, what we're looking at is real change for hundreds of California residents, for hundreds of Mountain View residents, the ability to get off the streets, get into supportive interim housing, and then get into permanent housing. And the success rates that we were hearing earlier about the people who get a chance to live in one of these facilities and then actually move into supportive housing is so much higher than it is for other types of supportive services that we provide. This took vision and thinking outside of the box by Governor Newsom and his staff in coming up with the Project Homekey concept, and then providing the funding necessary along with the legislature to be able to provide support to cities. But this took cities and public-private nonprofit partnerships moving on a dime and getting things done faster than we ever see. 6 months. This was a blank slate 6 months ago. We can't put a park bench up in a city park in 6 months. I came from local government. So the fact that you've got homes now for 125 people, up to 350 a year, is truly amazing. And then Life Moves, which created a playbook. I read it last night. I encourage, young Naj, it's like the playbook you got when you joined the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a playbook of how you can do this. There we go. We got the playbook in the back that every city in the Bay Area should be looking to for how to do one of these in your community. It's not hard. It's not scary. Mountain View did it. They proved the concept. Let's get this done in other communities around the Bay Area, because the homeless crisis is so real. And you know, if we can do this in 6 months, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to scale this up in communities all across the Bay Area, all across the state. So thank you to the governor. Thank you to the city of Mountain View. Thank you to Life Moves. And it's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague in the legislature, State Senator Josh Becker.
Thank you. People are fundamentally good. And it's our job in government to create opportunities for everyone to flourish. And that's what this governor is doing by investing in early care and learning, in asset building, in access to higher education. And that's what he and his team did with Project Homekey. We've gotten thousands of people off the streets, and it also unleashed innovation like we've seen here today. And I remember my friend Elizabeth called 7 months ago talking about what she was doing with Life Moves, and I could hear the excitement in her voice. And I said, that's great. But I thought in my head, I thought of Thomas Edison. He said, vision without execution is hallucination. But this is an example of execution in action. As my colleague, Assemblyman Berman, said, it's a public-private partnership, the city stepping up, the state, philanthropy, the corporate sector, all uniting in a common cause to do good. And seeing how we can all work together and executing at a fraction of the cost of building permanent housing. So out of Silicon Valley, we have this model of innovation, and how do we scale it? We know how to scale things, and we need to build more. I've been calling around to local city council people and talking about how do we get more land so they can do more. How do we free up surplus land at the state level, at the city level, from our water districts so we can do more here? And that's what we're going to do, and that's why this is so exciting, this model for all of us. And I say for the residents, to paraphrase Karl Bard, no one can go back and get a brand new start, but anyone can start now and create a brand new future. So here's the opportunity. Thank you very much. I get to introduce now, thank you. I get to introduce a true superstar, Najee Harris, his nonprofit Bigger Picture. Thanks for being here today. Young Naj.
Young Naj. Y'all just call me Young Naj. Well, first I want to say thank you guys for all coming. I know, this is crazy times we're in, and we're getting over it, but thank you for having me. Gavin, of course, too. You sound like my agent, man. I'll tell you that. It's scary as heck. But, I'm not gonna, well, my speech is gonna be kind of long, well, longer, but I wasn't really prepared, so I wrote it down on my phone, so y'all gotta work with me here. I'm not gonna be too professional, but hey, it's all about the message, right? All right, so my name's Najee Harris. I'm 23 years old, and I'm from the Bay Area. My mom's over there too. Got my mom's over there. My uncle and my team's here. But yeah, I'm gonna read from here. Well, I want to start saying I'm not a politician, so don't. Yeah. Well, I'm just here to shed light on the situation of homeless and hunger in California. We're all in position to help. I know I am, and of course these guys up here are. Me and my family were all once homeless, moving around the Bay Area, San Francisco, Richmond. I lived in Pinot, Hercules, Sacramento. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I could ask my mom; she even knows more. But we were evicted numerous times and had to stay in homeless shelters, friends' houses, cars. But as a family, we stuck together and made it through these tough times. Now I'm in position to help that people who were once in my shoes. But a problem with no answer is just a problem. Meaning, what have I done to help out the situation? Me personally, I have done a lot of events around the Bay Area. Food, clothing, things. I have a good team in Beast Mode. Me and Marshawn and KP right here. We're doing a lot of things too around the Bay Area. I'm actually in an organization called Athletes First, and we do a lot of stuff worldwide. I do a lot of stuff in Texas, Alabama. During the draft process, actually, because I am a rookie. If you guys don't know, I play football, by the way. During the draft process, I'm, you really want to focus on, the draft and being on the team. But I took time throughout my day to, focus on the things. I was training in Texas, so there's a lot of things they had with passing out food and stuff like that. So I done a lot of stuff there to take time on my training day to go in there and do other things like that just to show awareness and show that, this is a matter that really needs to be taken seriously. Because like I said, I was once in their shoes, so I know how it feels. But now I actually have my own nonprofit called The Bigger Picture, and it helps out hunger, homelessness, and a lot of other things. We do a lot of camps and stuff like that to just to help kids, show them that there's another way, and not to make sure they don't have no hope or something like that. We want to be just show them a way and give them positions just to better themselves really than what they are. California is our people, of course, Gavin, all you guys, California is our people, and we are God's people. At the end of the day, God isn't going to care about what I've done in the football world, with the championships and all that stuff, and really he's not going to care about how many bills we pass. What he's going to care about is what we've done to help the people. And, if we can do everything we can to help the people of California and just anywhere in the world and just play a part in doing that, then, hopefully you'll go to heaven. You never know at the end of the day. So thank you guys, though. Am I supposed to be? Hey, it's my honor to present Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Najee. We should have had him speak last. I should have. What the hell was wrong with me in terms of the selection of order here? But let me, in order, thank Aubrey for all of his hard work for really organizing this and his stewardship and his faith and devotion to the cause that brings us here today. Madam Mayor, none of these things happen. As a former mayor, these things don't happen on their own or in the absence of local leadership. So let me thank you for your localism and for your commitment and for your partnership. And thank you as well to the Assembly member and the Senator have been incredible champions, even before the two of them were in their respective roles. They have been fierce champions to address the issue of poverty in all its forms and manifestations, but in particular homelessness. And I could not ask, as governor of California, better partners in the state legislature than the two of them to commit to not only the cause, again, of providing support and housing more resources, but a more resourceful mindset in terms of the innovation they're bringing to the debate and the conversation. I think that was represented in the conversation, or rather in the comments they both made, that you get a sense that they're willing to try new things and do things differently. And that's fundamentally the message I want to communicate here today. Continue to do what you've done, you'll get what you got. That's an old Texas slang, Najee. And the reality is we can't afford to get what we got as it relates to the issue of homelessness and the housing affordability crisis in this state. We have to do things radically differently. And that's exactly what this project represents. Symbolically and substantively, these 100 units represent 100 of over 6,000 similar units that were brought online in less than 6 months in the state of California over the last year. And I'll repeat that because in the housing space, this is simply without precedent, arguably not just in California history, but as we're now learning in American history. There's a reason President Biden has identified the Homekey model as a national model and put $5 billion into the federal stimulus pot for programs like this, is because we're willing to do things differently. There's a sense of real urgency, a commitment and resolve to actually produce results, not just rhetoric and platitudes, not just promote platforms, but to actually open keys, open doors, create opportunities and homes, as Aubrey was saying, for people that need nothing else than a hand up and an opportunity to live their lives out loud. That is a responsibility, an obligation of each and every one of us, not just those in elected office. And I think it's the spirit of Najee, that notion that we're all bound together by this web of mutuality, as Dr. King said, this sort of biblical framework that he referenced about what it's about, what we should all be about, and what we'll be remembered for. And I think that's profoundly important to remind folks of our obligation to do more and be better as it relates to our own responsibility as partners, as communitarians, as members of this larger community, to recognize you can't live, as the Greeks used to say, a good life in an unjust society. There's no justice. There's no good life in stepping over people in the streets and sidewalks. And so that's what brings us here today, a recognition of responsibility, but also accountability. We own this. The world we're experiencing is happening on our watch. You can sit there and point fingers, abdicate responsibility, but we have agency. We can shape the future. Decisions, not conditions, will determine that fate and future. So we decided last year to do things differently. $846 million we invested in this project, 6,000+ housing units, and units that are being brought online not only in 6 months, but for a fraction of what it would have cost if we had applied the old strategies and the old ways of doing businesses. Project Homekey on the aggregate has cost the state about $148,000 per key. A little bit more here, but that's all in, with land acquisition, all the infrastructure, all of the space that you provided, not just for housing, but for social services. Because remember, housing is one thing, you got to deal with the wraparound services. You got to deal with the underlying reasons people are on the streets and sidewalks in the first place. It's a key, lock, door in a house, and supportive services. And so that's a big part of the model now we want to replicate, because at the end of the day, as Najee knows, in sports, but in life, success leaves clues. And so we want to replicate this successful model. And that's what we're doing, working with the legislature in the final hours of this budget. This is it. No more changes, Assembly member and senator, to lock in an unprecedented commitment to homelessness and housing, unprecedented in our state's history. We're blowing past the old limitations. The highest investment the state's ever made is $1 billion on homelessness. We are poised to pass a budget in the next few hours and get it signed next week that will provide $12 billion of investments in housing. It blows through anything we've done in the past, replicating this model with billions and billions of dollars. Billions, not millions, not hundreds of millions, billions and billions of dollars to replicate exactly the kind of success that we are all enjoying, particularly those 124 souls that will have the opportunity and privilege of getting served here will enjoy. And so I'm here in that spirit and in that light, but I'm also here just to quickly let you know that we also just passed hours ago, and we just put out moments ago a release that the state of California has now agreed with the legislature to the largest and most comprehensive renter protection deal in the United States. Let me be specific. Anybody that has been impacted by COVID that owes rent going back to last April, not just this April, last April, we will pay 100% of that rent. We'll also pay that rent, 100% of it going forward through September. So anyone that's been impacted by this pandemic and cannot pay rent, 100% of that rent will be paid for. Not 80%, not 25%, 100% will be paid for under this rent deal. And forgive me for saying this, but that's not all. I don't want to sound like a game show host, but we recognize that rent's one component. Big part of that rent check goes to pay water and utilities, electricity. 100% of water and utilities will also be picked up. We put $5.2 billion. It'll be all in, additional $2.6 billion, but $5.2 total into the rent deal, and $2 billion that we landed with the legislature negotiation to take care of utilities. So remarkable, $7.2 billion as part of this agreement, 100% to pay back. Hopefully that will calm people, and that moratorium will also not expire next week. It will expire on September 30th as a consequence of the deal that was reached with the legislature. Thank you, Assembly Member, and thank you, Senator, for making that happen and getting that done. And that's a big part of why we're here as well. Najee said it. Well, he's not just homeless, but he also is evicted. But he's also an example of what we are here to highlight, and that is we can solve homelessness. He's a living manifestation of that. For some that think this is overwhelming and can't be done, just meet his mom, meet his siblings that persevered, grit and hard work, and are here today as testament to a different belief. And so I just hope folks, in closing, shift their mindset. There's a lot of pessimism. You know, it's never been worse, and we're never going to solve this. It can be solved. We have vision, we have plan, and we now have the resources. And yes, again, this resourceful mindset to try new things, to iterate, to learn from our mistakes, but be willing to own up to them and make them by being willing to engage in different kinds of partnerships and a different kind of intentionality to address this issue in our state. So honored to be here, grateful for our incredible partners. And with that, Najee said he's going to answer all questions posed to me, and I'm grateful for that. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. And if there are no questions, we'll happily finish the tour. All right, listen over here.
So, of course, the ramp-up with Project Homekey and Project Homekey was happening in the context of a statewide crisis, the COVID pandemic. Here we are, unmasked, coming together in groups and passing a budget. Does this mark a new phase in the homelessness crisis response that was started last year?
Yeah, look, I don't want to make, I've only been in office 29 months. I can't make up for the last 29 years. I can't make up for the last, 5 to 10 years where things have gotten appreciably worse in the state of California. For that matter, trust me, all across the rest of the United States, but appreciably worse here in the state of California. But we can take responsibility and accountability for what is occurring today. And we are in a position to do so because, and it goes to your question, because not only is the state coming back, it's roaring back. Let's be honest. 41% of America's jobs came out of the state of California in February. 38% of America's jobs came out of the state of California 60 days ago. California is the tentpole of the American economy and the American recovery. We're enjoying an $80+ billion budget surplus. We're not advertising that. We're advertising $76 billion. It's actually over 80. $80 billion operating budget surplus, unprecedented in U.S. history. And we're investing that in the unprecedented challenges the state faces, including into addressing the needs of people that are working hard, playing by the rules, barely making ends meet. $12 billion tax rebate to 3/4 of tax filers in the state of California. Providing $4 billion direct grants for small businesses to get them back up on their feet, in addition to the renter protection as well as rental assistance, in addition to the homeless assistance and the work we're doing to rebuild our behavioral health system. And by the way, $3.5 billion of that $12 billion is to focus on board and care homes and to rebuild a system that was destroyed the year of my birth, 1967, when Ronald Reagan led with the dismantling of the behavioral health system in the state of California with his infamous first budget. So it's nice to be here as we turn the page on this pandemic with one of the lowest positivity rates in America, one of the highest vaccination rates in America, and now with the resources second to none in America that allow us to make these investments.
Another question over here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Jenna with Bay City News. So there have been two main complaints that I've been hearing from tenants in regards to the protections under SB 91. One is that the money has not been doled out, and the other is that landlords need to agree to get the money. Has anything changed? Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, we're going to allow renters, even without landlords' agreement, to be able to process the dollars directly to address that issue. And you're absolutely right. This is, by the way, not unique in California. California was the first, one of the first to ramp up with the original $2.6 billion. But it's been slow. The money's been slow to distribute, and that's been replicated all across the country, meaning people are struggling getting the money out. The Biden administration yesterday acknowledged that. So they're looking to change some of the federal rules, again, federal dollars that are being administered at the state level. And we have already updated our website, and we've taken the application process that was taking upwards of 3 hours. And now most folks are able to get an application done in a more culturally competent way with more assistance and support, more CBO partners, more in-person opportunities, not just online, within an hour or so. It's still laborious, but we are working hard to do that. $700 million just in the state program has been requested, and 90,000 people have applied. We expect with this announcement and deal, we're going to see more people applying and more money requested. Our job is to efficiently and make sure appropriately, because we don't want fraud in this space, to get those dollars out as quickly as possible.
Sorry, if I could just ask one more follow-up. So the reason that it's been slow is just because of federal regulations?
No, it's been slow because there's the labyrinth of paperwork, the difficulty with in-language access, some of the challenges specific to your very thoughtful question about landlords having to concur, the fact that a lot of people don't see 80% as 100%, and a lot of people don't see 25% previous component as 100% either. And so all of that led to some ambiguity, some challenge and confusion. Try to clarify all of that in this new deal today.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Well, with that, we're just going to thank everybody. And Najee, I've never had just 2 questions in a press conference, man, so you're coming with me everywhere I go. This is good luck. Thank you all very, very much. We're grateful that you took the time to be out here. Thank you, guys.